Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back for your match preview. Sorry, not match reaction. Match preview to Arsenal versus Aston Villa coming up on Saturday evening. It's live on Sky Sports. Massive game. And joining me to talk about the upcoming game is George. How you doing, mate? Great to see you out and about on location.
Hello, Rich. Yeah, hello, everyone. Yes, I'm out, mate. I've got the weekend off work, so I couldn't get in the pub quick enough. So I've had to pick a little quiet corner, and we'll try. A few people have just come in, but hopefully it'll be all right.
Yeah, we'll be all right. I've done. I remember a reaction show to a Brentford win that was we managed to do on location after quite a few beers that I'd had. So
I think I remember it,
yeah,
mate. Yeah.
we'll be all right with this one, guys. Please do smash that like button, hit the subscribe button. We've got the 4,800 one on there, but we're well over 5,000. I think we're pretty much at 5,100 now. So well on the road to 6,000, on the road to 10K. So please do help us get there. Like and subscribe and get your comments and your thoughts ahead of tomorrow's massive game. What do you think the score's going to be? Predicted lineups and everything else in between. So before we get right into the Arsenal game, George, we managed to break that hoodoo of our away form, losing 5 games in a row. We actually managed to win 1-0 away from home against Everton. Clean sheet, goal for Ollie Watkins, 1-0 victory. You know, not the greatest of performances, but certainly one to get an important win on the board.
Yeah, for sure, mate. Yeah, it was no oil painting of a game, was it? But we've been on a real tough run away from home. Had some real hard fixtures, but taken like nothing out of any of them. So we was on five defeats in a row. But yeah, coming to this one, as I said on our WhatsApp group the other day, Goodison's been a playground for us over the years, and it was a game we've always seemed to do well in, and this time was no different. I think they said it's now as Emi Martinez's 4th clean sheet at Goodison, and yeah, once again come away with the points. Not the prettiest of games, but a welcome clean sheet after we've had 2 all season or something. God knows when the last time we got one away from home. So yeah, happy days. You just get them any way you can. 3 good points, and and we're creeping up the league a bit now again. Just going under the radar as I like it, Rich. So a bit more of that.
Yes, we know it. We know you love going under the radar, George. And I think actually, we'll come on to this, but I think probably our last away clean sheet was probably Arsenal away in our last victory. I can't think of one before that away from home. So since then, away from home. So anyone in the comments probably correct me. But how good do you think it felt for Ollie Watkins? Obviously gets quite a bit of criticism, some justified, some not, in my opinion, for getting that winning goal. It must have felt really good for him. You saw his celebration, that weight lifted off his shoulders, particularly after missing that chance in the first half.
Yeah, a welcome relief for him. This season hasn't obviously gone as well as last season, but last season was a bit of not a one-off, but he was in great form, wasn't he? And he's found as a Villa, we found it a little bit tougher this year. Ollie's had the extra pressure of having Duran come in and do what he's done. But Watkins is still the main man at Villa, and he's earned that right. And I know me and you have always been sort of quite strong advocates and supporters of him, and that's never changed. So if he doesn't score for a few games, I'm not one of these that's going to start saying, "Oh, he's got to go, he's rubbish" or whatever. Fair play to him. He's scored a goal. He done what he usually does. Missed one he should have scored, and scored one he probably, he might not have scored, or many other strikers wouldn't have scored. But he got the winning goal. Got a lovely reception from the Villa fans at the end. Got pushed over by Mings to go and take the plaudits. And happy days, mate. They all went home happy, as did he.
Yeah, exactly. And just to finish up on that Everton game, big performances from Boubacar Kamara. Firstly, just absolutely showing what a massive player he is for us. And then secondly, Tyrone Mings, being that old school centre-half partnership of him and Ezri Konsa, proving to be really effective.
Yeah, Kamara does what he is a perfect game for him to do what he does best. He just breaks it up, keeps it simple, and he was a really good performance from Kamara, well-deserved man of the match. As for Mings, mate, we called for this earlier in the season. I know I certainly did. I said sometimes, I know how good Pau Torres is. I know how good his passing range is, what a classy operator he is. But sometimes you just need a defender to defend, mate. and that's what Mings does in abundance. You know, he's come in now. I think I saw the stat. He's come in, played 4 games, started 4 games. We've won 4 games. Back to basics approach. I saw him labelled on Twitter earlier as a head on a stick, which made me laugh. But you know, that's, you know, it comes at us and he heads it out. It comes at us, he heads it out again. I don't need to see him doing like pirouettes and fancy 30-yard balls. Just defend our goal, mate, and we're not going to concede. You know, he's a little bit casual on the ball at times, but that's just kind of Mings' demeanour, and you know, you've just got to accept that, haven't we? But again, clean sheet. Mings has played 90 minutes. We've won the game, so what more can you want?
Exactly. So going into the game on Saturday against Arsenal, let's start with, let's keep on the Villa track. You know, it was quite noticeable that Unai Emery only made 1 substitution on Wednesday night. Now, that could have been with Arsenal in mind. It could have been with the game situation as it was, but certainly maybe a slight surprise that we didn't see Maatsen, Bailey, and or Duran coming on. So does that give us an indication as to maybe 1 or 2 different changes ahead of the game on Saturday?
I don't know. I'm not too sure about that. I mean,
Mm.
like as Everton had a bit of pressure, didn't they, in sort of like the last 5-10 minutes on Wednesday? I mean, I was screaming for some subs, just to, not so much for personnel, just to break the game up and you know, see the game out. But he didn't do it, and yeah, I did find that was a little bit odd. But you know, he's the manager, he's the main man, and we won the game. So what do I know? I guess, you know, we've got Arsenal coming up tomorrow. We've then got a trip to Monaco on Tuesday. So I personally, I'd expect the changes to probably come for Monaco rather than tomorrow. If we've just won a game and we're in a bit of form, I reckon he'll probably go unchanged for tomorrow. But then, you know, Tuesday you're looking at Duran to start, probably Maatsen to start, maybe the new lad to get some minutes. I'm not too sure, but at the minute, it's a tough game Arsenal away, isn't it? You don't need any complications. So what we're doing at the minute's working. I would probably just stick with that myself.
Yeah, I like that midfield partnership of Kamara, Onana, and then
Yeah.
obviously with Tielemans just in front, because yes, Tielemans maybe isn't quite as involved as maybe he wants to be, but it just means that if needed, he can drop into that defensive position into midfield to give us an extra man, or he's got the flexibility to go forwards, or either Onana's got that flexibility to drive forwards with the ball as well. So I kind of like the flow in that midfield with them in there.
Yeah, fully agree, mate. That's the system I like. I personally prefer Tielemans in the 10. He's don't get me wrong, he's done great as the Louise replacement as well this season, but results haven't always reflected that. You know, it becomes a bit of a ping pong. What am I saying? What am I saying, Rich? What's the word?
Pinball or ping
Pinball
pong?
game, and yeah, I don't know, probably both. But it becomes one of them. Let's just say basketball match. It's become one of them sometimes, and sometimes if you just have a couple of, you know, physical presences in there, like with Kamara and Onana, that can be stopped, can't it? And you know, Tielemans does lots of damage in the 10 as well. So yeah, I'd be tempted to stick with that, mate.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you mentioned his name before. Obviously, Daniel Marlon in the building, signed for pretty much the same price as what we sold Jaden Philogene for. It's a little bit bizarre that you're signing a player from Borussia Dortmund, Champions League finalists, for the same money as what you would sell a kind of young up and coming English player for. But that's the market. Now, he could well come into the side or make an appearance tomorrow against Arsenal, and he spent some time at Arsenal, so it's got Daniel Marlon winner written all over it, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, to be honest, I'm not going to sit here and bullshit anyone. I don't know a lot about him, but I did see he'd come through the Arsenal, or he'd spent some time in the Arsenal academy, which was a bit of a surprise to me, obviously, and he's moved on a couple of times since then. Yeah, I wouldn't fancy his chances of getting a start tomorrow. But you
No.
know, if the game's going well, or even if it isn't going well and it's out, you know, and we're out of it by then, you probably expect to see him come on just to get a taste of it. But yeah, you know, the fee. Just looking at the basics, the fact he's played for Borussia Dortmund, he's played, you know, regular Champions League football at a decent age. To think you've got him for the same price as we've just sold Philogene for, someone who's not done anything in the game yet, just really. is, if Marlon produces what he can produce, it's going to be a masterstroke of business for us. To have not spent any extra money and done that like for like replacement.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So just in terms of like approach, we were quite controlled against Everton, and we know we're coming up against a vastly, vastly different quality of opposition. But how do you think Emery approaches this? Will we be kind of trying to catch on the break? Will we be trying to be controlled in possession? What do you think Aston Villa will do tomorrow?
Well, I'm a, we had a good chat all on the group chat the other night. We were sort of saying about how we would approach away games, and I kind of, especially in the away ones, I kind of like the approach of what we did when Unai first came in. We used to sit, and we did it. The perfect example was how we played at the Emirates last year. We
Mm.
just sat very tight first half, didn't we? We were
Hmm.
compact, solid, trying to frustrate. All right, fair play that we kind of we rode our luck a little bit in that first half last year against Arsenal. But by the time about an hour went past, they were all out of steam and they hadn't scored. And we started getting on top of them, didn't we? We saved all
Mm.
our energy for the last half an hour. Eventually, took over the game, and in my opinion, deservedly won it. It was a great, great win for us. So there's the blueprint, mate, of how you beat them. I know it's not. It's easy to just say that's how you do it. It depends how things pan out. But I just think in the away games so far this year against the big boys, we've tried to control the game too much. We've
Mm.
tried to take it to them, and it hasn't worked in any of them, has it? Really, you just look at the points we've lost. We've lost at Liverpool. We've been spanked at Chelsea. We've been spanked at Tottenham. We've been spanked at Newcastle. At Forest we nearly got the points, but fell apart there and lost that one. So for me, I think sometimes you've just got to pick your battles. All right, you can play the lovely football at home and try and dominate and control, but in these games away from home against the top sides, you've got to respect what they've got. And I think you defence first, see what you can nick, and if we're still in the game, then you can go and try and push on and win it late on.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. It's so satisfying when that plan comes off in an
Ah, it's
away
brilliant.
game.
Yeah.
um, talking of Arsenal, now they've been a bit inconsistent. Got a good result the other night against Tottenham, but in the Carabao Cup, kind of lost badly against Newcastle, and then they've drawn quite a few games. And if you're watching their fan channels, across various sort of YouTube channels, that it's crisis time at Arsenal. They're not going to win anything. They're sacked Mikel Arteta, and the standard style of football's terrible, and all they do is just get set pieces. But surely they're better than that.
Yeah, of course they're better than that. It's just being a bit dramatic, isn't it? I feel they're paying a little bit because they've run Man City so hard the last couple of seasons. And then for this year, to see Man City collapse as they have, but then they've not been able to take advantage because Liverpool have made a jump on both of those sides. And now
Mm.
Liverpool look like they're going to romp into the league. Arsenal are probably thinking, well, hold on a minute. We were supposed to be the next in line here, and all of a sudden we're about to be the bridesmaids again. So I do understand the frustration. But they're a good side, but
Mm.
Arteta doesn't seem to want to have a striker, does he? And they're paying the
No.
price for that again. Havertz will do his bit as the false nine. He's a bit of a streaky player, isn't he? He's on
Yeah.
fire. He's on fire for 3 months. Then you don't see nothing for 3 months. Poor old Jesus. He was out. He couldn't score a goal for Toffee. All of a sudden, he stepped in something and just went on a scoring spree for 4 or 5 games. Looked unstoppable. And then the geezer does his ACL, and he's now out for another year. So they're back to what are they going to do now? Is it Havertz? They've locked in Nketiah. They let go in the summer. So they're creating chances galore, loads and loads of chances, but they're struggling to put the ball away. And I guess the fans are just frustrated because I think last year they did this. They often get knocked out of 2 competitions very quick.
Mm.
They obviously last week they dominated Man United in the FA Cup, but still found a way to lose that game on penalties against 10 men. The Newcastle game, you'd have fancied them at home anyway to at least take an advantage. But then Newcastle have done a job on them, and now, Newcastle are hot favourites to go through to the final. So
Mm.
I wouldn't say it's crisis for Arsenal, but, it's a bad, as these foreign managers say, it's a bad moment, and they just need to get over it. But I'm hoping that Villa can keep them in this bad moment, and hopefully the crowd at the Emirates are going to be a bit off tomorrow and a bit frustrated, and we can jump on top of it, mate.
Absolutely, and you mentioned kind of players there. Saka's out injured, Jesus is
Yeah.
out injured. They've got a big injury list, but still with players like Odegaard, Martinelli can do damage. Havertz obviously is streaky, and then obviously their defense is with Gabriel and Saliba very very difficult to score past.
Yeah, he said they've got a top quality side, top quality squad, even with the injuries. You know, yeah, Saliba, brilliant. Him and Gabriel, the defensive partnership of last season for by a mile, weren't they? Fantastic,
Mm.
and they don't concede many goals. And yeah, it's a good team. It's a good team, mate. What can you say?
Yeah,
You give Arsenal the
exactly.
respect they
They don't
deserve.
lose at home very often either, do
No,
they? So that's the other
exactly.
thing.
It's
Yeah,
just the fact they've lost them two games, what I just mentioned,
yeah.
recently. So hopefully that's played onto the nerves of the Arsenal fans, and they can start making it a bit of a hard place for them to play rather than us.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely think and I'll bring the predicted lineup, and you can kind of chat about who you think. I'll talk you through it if you can't see very well, but who they've got there. But there's definitely kind of weapons in our side that we can use to hurt them. The FOTMob predicted lineup has gone with Bailey instead of Ramsey, but equally, if Ramsey played, if Bailey plays, but you look at that in terms of pace and power. You've got Watkins up top. You've got Rodgers in the midfield, attacking midfield area. You've got Yuri Tielemans in that attacking midfield area. Leon Bailey as well. Then you've got Onana driving forwards. So there's lots of areas where we can really hurt Arsenal. There's been times where they've been a bit sluggish. They've been a bit kind of not sloppy on the ball, but not as fast or not as like crisp in terms of their passing as they would like. And that's where Villa can really hurt them, especially with the pace of Rodgers, Watkins, Bailey, or Ramsey.
Yeah, 100%, mate. It's just a shame that they managed to get the win in the North London Derby on Wednesday, which we were overlooking, weren't we? That's
Mm.
probably G'd everyone up a little bit and give them a bit of belief. I know Declan Rice had a storming game there. But for me, yeah, the battle is Partey and Rice against Kamara and Onana, isn't it? If,
Yeah,
if we can if we can win that midfield battle and our attackers can sort of get at the Arsenal defence, there's a chance we can win this game. I think if we do nick it, it's only going to be a 1-0, well, probably a 1-0 or 2-1, only an odd goal win. But yeah, we can hurt any team, mate, on our day. We're starting to feel a bit more confident on ourselves now, aren't we?
yeah.
Yeah, we've got a strong squad. We've got threats off the bench. You've got Matson there on the bench with loads of pace.
Matson,
If
Duran,
we're
if
still
he
on it
doesn't
after an hour,
start, yeah.
of
Marlon, if
course,
he
yeah, John
doesn't
Duran.
start. Ramsey,
Yeah,
if he doesn't start, or Bailey, one of
I'll
the
tell you
two.
what. I'll tell you what, Rich. Ramsey was very, very good, wasn't he? That's his best performance. I know he's
Yeah,
been back long, but I was very impressed with him the other night.
Yeah, I thought he worked extremely hard. He won
Yeah.
so many, like something about ground jewels or something like tackles that he won really well. The only thing I would say is I'd like him to be a bit more definite with his movements off the ball. Like rather than just moving like 1 or 2 yards, like really drag the player who's marking with you out of position and then get on the ball on the half turn and really run at them. That's the only thing I would say. And then
Well,
in
he's
the
got that in
second
the locker,
half,
isn't he? He does have
he
that in the locker.
has, he has. And then in the second half, there was one pass where if he'd have just got the pass right, he'd have played Cash in on goal, like completely in on goal, and he messed up the pass. Now, that's not to say that other players don't do that. That's something that I get frustrated with Morgan Rogers about as well. It's like you've done all the hard work to get yourself into that final position where the final pass will put it on a plate for someone. Look, Morgan Rogers did it perfectly for Ollie Watkins, so you can't criticise him there. But I'm just saying there are occasions where those players will, particularly with Aston Villa this season, where we've got into those positions and we've just not taken care with that final pass. And that Ramsey one was a perfect example of that. And in these massive games against the likes of Arsenal, you have to make sure that you take care with that final pass to make sure that you take every chance that you get.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, against the top sides, if you don't take them chances, you're going to get severely punished, aren't you? Because you probably won't
Mm,
get many.
mm. Exactly. Just before we get your score prediction and finish up for the show and let you get back to your drinking and your night out.
I need to get the darts out
Obviously,
yet, Richard. The darts haven't
yes,
come
and the
out yet.
darts out. Obviously, drink responsibly, everyone. Uh, in terms of head-to-heads, lots of times we've played Arsenal 59 times in all in the Premier League. They have won a total of 32 games, 17 of those at home. We've won 7 times away at Arsenal. So there's quite a few memorable ones in there as well. 14 draws. This season, we obviously lost 2-0 at Villa Park in what was a very good performance for Aston Villa. Obviously, we still talk about it now. Ollie Watkins missing 2 big chances there. Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 0 last season, which really did probably secure us that 4th spot and actually stopped Arsenal from winning the league. 1-0 win in December last 2023, where that was it, just after the Man City win. So a fantastic week for Villa there. The 4-2 defeat in February 23 when we should have won really, but Arsenal came back right at the end of the game to secure the victory, and then a 2-1 defeat, I think, earlier on in that season, where I think that might be when Douglas Luiz scored direct from a corner. But in terms of form, I mean, for Arsenal not doing very well, according to their supporters, they've won 4 out of the last 5 games and only drawn 1. So
what a nightmare,
that's not a bad run of form, to be honest with you. 13 points in the last 5 games. Villa with 10 points in the last 5 games. So certainly getting a bit more consistency there as well, George. Currently 7th in the Premier League, Aston Villa 2nd for Arsenal. They've won 12, Villa have won 10. They've drawn 7, so drawn quite a few games. They've lost 2, Villa drawn 5 and lost 6. So they certainly haven't lost many games, but they have drawn quite a few. Don't concede many goals at all. They're still averaging just under 2 goals a game. So, for what they're doing, they're not doing too bad, creating quite a few chances, but Villa are also creating quite a few chances. So it's going to be an even game, I think. It's going to be a tight game, and both managers really do respect each other. Unai Emery obviously going back to his old club. Yeah, like you say, mate, we can be if the plan comes together, we can probably be sort of quietly confident that we can pick up a result here.
Yeah, I think you just got to be hard to beat, and so many games this season we've been too easy to beat. We beat ourselves most of the games, conceding stupid goals off. I'd say, God, what percentage, Rich, do you reckon of goals we've conceded that have been our fault this season? It feels like very high.
Yeah,
like errors leading to goals and that,
Yeah, if AVFC Stato's watching, then please let us know. But I mean, we've obviously got that statistic where it's something like 11 games or something in all competitions where the team has scored from their first shot on target.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ridiculous. And
it is. I just feel sorry for trying to go on.
No, I was just going to agree with you. It feels like those first shots on target aren't like a speculative 30-yard drive or a lucky shot from outside of the box on the corner of the box or something. It's usually a sloppy pass that's made from Villa or a long ball over the top that we've been caught flat-footed. It's been like a really easy opportunity for that player to score. The only one, I don't know if this was their first opportunity on target, but the only one that I thought was a really good finish was Cunha's goal for Wolves against us. But even then, Diego Carlos gave the ball away. But yeah, it's crazy at the minute. We just, like you say, we just have to be more difficult to score against, and hopefully the 2 wins and Mings and Conter at the back. Mings particularly talking to the defense, talking to the midfield, I think really helps.
100%. Just, I don't know. I just find a lot of football fans they get in this purist attitude, don't they? And they want to follow the trends of like, oh, Ruben Diaz does this, John Stones does this. But if your players are not good enough to do what they do, you're just wasting your time. You're going to concede more goals than anything. It's all well playing this lovely fancy football, but if you keep giving it to the opposition, like Southampton and Ipswich do, you're going to be at the bottom of the league and you're going to lose games. I just think, in a game like this, if you do kind of accept that the other team are better than you, and you've got to try and, what's the word? Be a bit more submissive in the game. But the less creative you are on the ball, the less mistakes you're going to make. I'm not trying to sound defeatist there or anything, but sometimes just, a little less risk,
Just dig in.
Just dig in and annoy the crowd and get the shithousery back up, start wasting time and stuff like that. I know none of us want to see that, and we think we're bigger than that, but I think this year it's proved we're not, are we? Because we're not getting no results against no one above us. So I think you go back to playing how we did when we were.
Yeah. Well, look, hopefully the players take heed. Hopefully they take confidence from the last few games, the last few wins as well. And it has been a bit like that. We have kind of been in the game, at least for the, after that first half, whether it be we have maybe conceded a goal and got ourselves back into it. and we have been in it, and then maybe stepped it up for certainly against Leicester, certainly against West Ham, and Everton. We kind of stepped into that
Win
second
games in
game.
bursts.
Yeah, even though we dropped off towards the end, but we kind of knew that we had it in us. Whereas this one is a real test where probably got to stay in it and score at the times when we're on top, and then kind of make sure we defend solidly. So we will see what happens, mate. Before I let you go, give us a score prediction and scorers for tomorrow. What are you saying?
I'm going to go for a narrow Arsenal win, and I'm only literally just based on the fact we haven't beaten anyone above us at all. But other than we had the win at home against Man City, but other than that, we've lost every single game. So until we do win one, and I'm proven wrong, I'm going to stick with that philosophy. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Arsenal win, and I reckon it will be we'll go for a Jacob Ramsey goal for us.
Okay, so a disappointing defeat, but maybe, I don't know, maybe a decent performance there. I'm going to say a draw.
So.
Yeah, I'm going to say a draw. I'm going to say an entertaining 2-2 draw. I think Watkins will score again. He's on a not a bad run in terms of goals, not a bad run, certainly not a bad run in terms of involvement as well. And him and Rodgers seem to be getting a good understanding together. So Watkins and I think John Duran will come on and score the goal to get us a 2-2 draw. And I'll certainly take that going into West Ham at home on the following week. So
yeah, all day
yes,
long.
mate.
Yeah, I'll take a point, mate. Definitely.
Defo. Right. Well, we will both be at the game tomorrow, so please do come and say hello. Come and grab a beer with us if George hasn't had too many tonight, and yeah, definitely come and say hello, and we'll chat about the game and hopefully celebrate 3 points. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. I'll be back with an instant reaction tomorrow, or semi-instant, and we'll see what we can do with regards to timings and trains and all that stuff. But I will be back with a match reaction and obviously talking tactics and fans forum, transfer roundup shows as well. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for jumping on, George. Enjoy your night, and as always, remember, we all follow the Villa.